to another episode of Thai Girl Talk.
With Mia from Learn to Speak Thai.
And Lani from Tell Thai Heart.
Where are we now? What are we doing here today?
Well, we are in a studio with Hugh
Yes.
Leong. And for those of you who are in the Thailand blogging community, you will
Yes.
already know who he is.
Right, yeah, and today is my first day meeting him in person. I've been following his blogs and on his website for a long time.
So for those of you who don't know Hugh, he has his own website called Retire to Thailand with the number 2.com. And then he also writes for Women Learn Thai. Is it every week?
Once a month, usually.
Oh, once a
Okay.
month. Okay.
Or when the feeling hits me.
I don't know how many people know about you in regards to how long have you been in Thailand?
I first came to Thailand in 1969. I haven't lived here all that time, but altogether I would say probably about 15 years living in Thailand.
Wow.
But in 1969, I came as a Peace Corps volunteer, and I taught in Chiang Mai at the Yuparat Wityalai School. But I stayed here 3 years, and I went home, got a master's degree in teaching English to speakers of other languages, and came back and taught at the Royal Thai Naval Academy and then later at Chiang Mai University. After that, I was the director of AUA Chiang Mai. When my children were little, I wasn't making enough money to support them on the AUA salary, so we left, eventually ending up in Seattle, Washington, and stayed there for the next 20 years.
Wow.
Changed careers. I became a computer consultant. Then I did have enough money to raise my kids. When it came time to retire, I started thinking back on Thailand. And that's what brought us back.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Okay. Let's go back to why did you think of Thailand to come back to retire?
Well, Thailand is a retirement haven for a lot of people. A lot of people think of it because the cost of living, because of the climate, and the really nice people here. Since I had already had an inn here, I had already lived in Thailand for 9 years. We thought, let's go back, see what it's like, and maybe it'll be something that in the future we'll think about. So after 20 years, or almost 25 years of not being in Thailand, we came back. So after being back the next year, and then we came back and lived in Thailand for what I call a staggered retirement or a trial retirement. We weren't sure we wanted to live here.
Right.
And this is something I recommend. If anybody's thinking of living anywhere without having lived there before, is to try it out first.
Right.
So we came back for 10 days the first time, and then for a month the second time. And then the next year after that, we came back for 2 months and ended up, we did that for about 6 years, and we ended up spending about 4 months every year living in Chiang Mai.
Well, it seems like a lot of good reasons to live in Thailand. But for you, personally, if you could think about the number one reason that you're here,
The
what
number
it would
one
be?
reason
Yes.
I'm here.
Yes.
Geez, I never thought of that. Well, we ran away from the cold. That's one thing. We ran to a place that has really good food, really nice people, and our retirement income, which isn't much, I live off of Social Security and a little savings, goes a lot further here. So Thailand is getting more expensive, but I live off of the Thai economy. I eat Thai food. A house doesn't have a lot of foreign amenities, just a regular house. I have a motorcycle and 10-year-old car, but that's the way we've always lived, and that's why we could retire fairly early. I retired at the age of 55, and the reason I did that was we were frugal all our lives. We saved. Now, I have enough, and I've always had enough. That's how you can retire early. Retirement, to me, is complete freedom, if you have enough. The questions I get usually center around how much does it cost to retire here? What's the healthcare situation in Thailand?
Of course.
These are probably the two most important questions I have. Now, I've written a lot on cost of living in Thailand. If you live like a Thai and the Thai economy, you'll probably be fine. If you need foreign imported goods, imported foods, a new car every couple of years, a 650 Kawasaki motorcycle, then you might have a little more trouble affording living here. So it all depends on you. Everybody is different. They have their own needs. They have their own lifestyles. Living here, as I do, very simply, you should have no problem. I can't say exactly how much it would cost you to live here, but again, it all depends on you. For me, I spend around 60,000 baht a month for me and my wife, two of us. So that's about $2,000, which is just about what my Social Security brings in. So I'm living on what I'm making and not worrying about anything else. Now, who knows? The prices may go up again. I'm not sure. But that's the first thing. The other question about medical or healthcare, it turns out that we just happen to be some of the luckiest people in the world because Thailand has decided to become a medical tourism center. That means that in various towns around the country, there's one or two or more hospitals that are set up for foreigners to be treated. What we do is we use the Chiang Mai Ram Hospital, which is considered the best hospital here, the most expensive. We do what everyone should do about their health. Number one is we take care of our health before we get sick. Thailand is a great place for eating fresh foods, not eating too much, not getting too much overweight, taking care of your health in that way. It's also a good place for outdoor activities, walking or running or climbing mountains, or if you're down south, swimming and, sailboarding. And there's so many things to do that will keep you healthy. The second part of being healthy is preventive care. And so we get a checkup at the hospital every year. And the checkups here are very, very thorough. For a checkup, the cost of a really, really good checkup, I mean, we're talking about all kinds of blood tests, ultrasounds, and all the things that you could possibly think of, is probably less than the cost of a meal at a fancy restaurant in America. The cost of a checkup is really, really well worth it. And then if anything goes wrong, they have well-trained doctors here, a lot of them foreign trained, America or Europe, as well as nurses, and most of them can communicate fairly well in English.
I mean, English is the common language in the medical field.
Yeah.
And that includes dentists as well.
Oh, yeah, dentists are really cool. For instance, I go to get a checkup once a year, which costs about $10, and a cleaning and everything. So cleaning, checkup, and all that is maybe it costs $20. Now, the question that I usually get is about insurance, health insurance. But I don't have a health insurance here. What I have is a bank account with a certain amount of money I've just put in there, and I've forgotten about it. The way I determine how much money I put into the bank was how much it costs to get a heart bypass operation.
Okay, yeah, just in case if it happens.
Right,
I don't
it's
think
about
it
as
would.
bad as it could get, right?
Yeah.
Now, if I eat well and do the exercises, I won't have to do. And if I don't sit down and drink beer all day, I probably won't have to do that. But that's how much money I've put away.
Oh, interesting.
For each of us, for one for me, one for my wife. And so we could go and get 2 bypass operations.
Just for fun, right?
Yeah, just for fun, right?
Oh, yeah, your base is covered.
Yeah, and that's how we covered our base. Now, if anything went seriously wrong, we would first go to Chiang Mai Ram Hospital, the most expensive one.
Right.
And then if we had to get something like surgery or some other procedure that would be very expensive, I would do that at the local government hospital. And the government hospital in Chiang Mai is very good, but also maybe a third the cost of Chiang Mai Ram Hospital.
Right.
So that's how I would do that.
Okay.
All the preventive care, all the checkups and everything, I get at Chiang Mai Ram. It's more expensive, but the waits are almost zero. I can walk in and say, I want a CAT scan, and they would say, okay, go up to the 4th floor and we'll give you a CAT scan. I wouldn't wait, and if I needed to see a specialist, I could see that person within minutes, literally within minutes.
See, my husband just has the appendicitis surgery 2 months ago. Of course, we live in Thailand, but we didn't have the health insurance. But we went to the best hospital, Chiang Mai Ram, and it's cost around 60,000 baht, which is $2,000.
Right.
Just in case the listener have an idea how much it costs. That's a big surgery, for appendicitis, and then just $2,000.
Yeah, and the thing is that service is also very, very good.
Yeah. In fact,
Well, did you
the
talk
opposite.
about this on your blog, Hugh?
I've written a number of times about medical care, especially the annual checkup. My blog has if you do a search on annual checkup, you'll find that.
Right.
Okay, that's good. Well, speaking of misconceptions, what do you feel like are the most common ones about retiring in Thailand?
there are two. I thought about this question. There are two misconceptions. One is that Thailand is a third world country. It's backward. And the second misconception is Thailand is a paradise. First of all, Thailand used to be a third world country. Thailand is developed.
Right.
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
past tense now. If you go to Bangkok or you go to a lot of the I was just in Hat Yai down in the south. I mean, these places are bustling. Businesses and all modern.
Right.
Every single person, it seems, in this country has a cell phone.
iPhone.
An iPhone. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
it's not a backward country anymore.
3 Western supermarkets.
Oh, there's
It's called
everywhere.
Ring Bing.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Everything you could get from the West.
Top supermarket and
Big C.
Big C and Lotus and these things didn't exist before. So Thailand is not a third world country anymore. You can get everything you need here.
Right.
And the other part, Thailand is a paradise. Well, it's really not a paradise. It's comfortable, but
It can be.
but it can be as a nice a place as you'd ever want to be. It has great beaches, it has great mountains and all that, but you have to live a lifestyle that allows you to be happy and comfortable. So it's not a paradise where you don't do anything. You have to really work at being happy, just as you would anywhere in the world.
Right. That's well said.
Yeah. So those are the two misconceptions. One, they're both on either
Yeah.
side of the spectrum.
Right.
Yeah.
So Thailand's right in the middle.
That's right. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Hugh, for joining us in the studio. But stay tuned for next week. We have part 2 when Hugh talks about his secrets to living a happy life in Thailand.
That's right. And if you have any comments or feedback or questions for Hugh, please visit his website. Till the next time. สวัสดีเจ้า
Sawadee ka.